Hey everybody, how y'all doing? It's Devin with Man Versus again, and we got a very, very special topic today. We're going to talk about sexual assault, how women feel about it, what they can do to help. Just a whole discussion about it. And I have three important guests with me. I have Niyah, Day, and Jay. So Niyah, introduce yourself, then we'll go to Jay and Day.
What's up, everybody? It's Niyah Vernon. But on Instagram, I'm Niyah Alexis. How are you doing?
Hey, how y'all doing, man? It's Jay, Jaye Newton. I go by Jaye Newton on Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, I'm an artist, and so yeah.
Hey y'all, my name is Dasia Jones, and you can find me on all social media at Day Jones, Dayy Jones, and you will find me ranting about this topic and many more on both social medias.
Every single day.
I didn't mean to jump in, but he said Jay and Day, so then I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
he switched the order, and so I was like,
dang, that's my bad.
It's cool.
I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. But today's a very interesting topic, a topic that I'm very passionate about. Me as a man, I know it's different for girls, obviously. Even the assault that men deal with versus the assault that women deal with is very different. But I definitely want to talk about this. Even on my first podcast, I said, we got to have this conversation that I think a lot of people don't want to have because it's either awkward or people just ignore it, or
it's intimidating.
Yeah, it's not,
and it's personal.
It's not serious until it happens to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even some girls don't think it's serious till it happens to them. And so I just want to lead into it and just wanted to get y'all's definition and how do y'all feel about sexual assault? So Niyah and Day, you can start it off, and then we can get Jay as a Christian man.
I think asking how I feel about sexual assault, I feel like that's very, I don't know, I feel like that's a vague question.
I feel like sexual assault, the way that people think about sexual assault is not what it actually is. I think sexual assault has a very wide spectrum. I feel like people only associate sexual assault with rape.
Yeah,
they don't
definitely
associate sexual assault with touching someone.
Sexual harassment.
Yes, all of it. Sexual manipulation, all of it. And so I think that's something that we need to talk about and actually talk about the actual range of sexual assault.
So what is the range? So if I look at you, is that sexual assault?
No, I think that
and that was a serious question because I'm literally just asking.
I think that it can range on a male perspective, or women or male, but I'm speaking towards males, towards women.
Okay.
It starts with making somebody feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Whether that is, a comment, catcalling, or just it's, saying something that's harassment, or when people be in parties and they try and touch your waist or whatever.
Oh, excuse me.
Pass, you know what I'm saying, and touch
rubs the booty.
All of that. I think that's the stepping stones to the actual act of assault. As far as forcefully
touching somebody is sexual assault. If you grab somebody in the midst of passing them at a party, that's sexual assault. That's not sexual harassment. You assaulted them. Okay. You touched them without their consent. Yeah. And you made them uncomfortable.
I was talking to one of my friends, and she was saying that we need to make it more normalized. So we need to normalize punching niggas in the face when they touch us, when we don't want them to be touched. Just as normal as it was for you to touch me, I'm going to make it normal for me to punch you in the face. Because it's why, because specifically she was talking about guys at a party. Yeah. She was like, I was at a party and this guy that I didn't know felt that he could just touch me. I look around, I tell him to stop, and he laughs in my face.
Yeah, that's a normal thing, though. Yeah, that is so much more common. And you could think it's common, and I promise you it's not as common as you even think that it is. Yeah. That's a consistent thing.
Yeah, and I could believe that. And I think that also comes off of the fact that on a power scale, men don't feel intimidated by women, so and they don't feel like there's anything.
That's why we gotta normalize men punching other men in the face.
That's why I was gonna skate into there's just not enough accountability, at least on our end. Facts. For defending in situations, having people that you can call on in those scenarios that are present with you, that you can say, this person touched me, and that to be handled.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Just to hop kind of back into the first point that Niyah was making, we have to kind of get into the mindset of holding people accountable for things that aren't just rape, because you have to hold the men that are sexually assaulting women, or sexually assaulting anyone, not just men, I'm sorry, accountable just like you find out somebody raped somebody.
Facts.
Because sometimes things happen and people get out of it before it gets to that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes people grab women at parties. You have to hold them accountable the same way that you would if it was something like that. Because I feel like we kind of are a little bit more serious with it when it comes to rape versus genuinely holding people accountable when you see somebody touch somebody at a party, or you hear that somebody almost did something but they got away. Right. You know what I'm saying?
See, I'm a big so me personally, I don't like guns. Like, I'm just not I don't know. I'm a pacifist. I don't like guns. But I'm a big purveyor for women to get guns, know how to use it, keep a little 22 Glock on them, and shoot a nigga that touches them. Like, it may seem OD and overkill, but at the same time, though, even though, like, I'm not really that big of a dude, I really, I got some muscle on me. Like, I could definitely fight a guy twice my size and hold my own. Versus a girl who's, like, my size, I just know, like, she's nowhere near as strong as I am, as fast as I am. So I believe, like, girls should really, get a Glock or at least a taser. And like Niyah said earlier, like, if a dude touches your butt or, like, your waist or, like, your chest or whatever, like, for real, like, shoot him in the leg, like, or tase him in the chest or something like that. Because even with me, I don't like when people touch me. Like, if we're cool, we can be buddy, like, that's cool, right? But I don't like when people touch me. So when people touch me, I be like, bro, back off.
Yeah, I don't like being touched either.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, if you're my girl or whatever, like, it's different. Or, like, Jay daps me up, that'd be cool. Or, like, I hug my friends or whatever. But, like, a random person or someone that I'm not cool with, like, when they touch you, like, it just, like, I don't know if I'm a germaphobe or I don't know what it is, but I just don't like being touched.
And the thing is like, when we say that, normalize punching whoever when they touch you, the fact of the matter is there's going to be some women who are not comfortable like punching someone else because that's just not in them. So it's annoying, because I was also having this conversation with someone in my family, and they believe that we should just focus on defense. We should focus on teaching women and girls what's best, like where not to go. You should not go to this man's house at this time, And it's not that I disagree with those things, because within certain situations, yes, you have to think, like, where am I safe the best? And it sucks that we have to think that way. But like me and Day had talked about one time, it's a defense mechanism that we have had to learn. But I was telling them that it just sucks that over all of these years, we've been focusing on defense for women. That's all we're taught from when we're young. But we don't talk about how we need to start teaching men and women how to actually respect people's boundaries. You know what I mean? It's like, we always talk about defense. Right. Like, we always talk about it because we have to do it to survive. Yeah, so let's switch the conversation. Let's talk about changing mindsets now.
See, I've always been 50-50 on that, because I think that too. Like, because I use the logic of, I wouldn't go to SWATs at 11 o'clock at night with my wallet hanging out. Like, of course it sucks that I can't do that with my own people, but I'm not stupid. But at the same time, though, you're right. It really does suck that women can't go to the gas station. Like, I told my girlfriend, and she looked at me like I was crazy, but I was like, don't get gas at night. I was like, I don't even get gas at night.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gotta get some gas right now because tank a little low. But I literally tell, I'm like, don't get gas at night. Like, if you're gonna get gas, like, it sucks, but wake up 10 minutes earlier, then go get gas.
Yeah.
Don't do it at night, because anything can happen at night. Yeah. And you're less likely to get kidnapped or assaulted or something like that. And then, like, if I'm not there, there's nothing that I can do.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want nothing to happen to you. So I literally tell them, like, yo, at nighttime, just try to go straight home. Don't even go to the grocery store. I prefer you not to. And this is not me being controlling, because I don't care what you do. You know what I'm saying? Just don't cheat on me. I don't care what you do. Just, like, I just want you to be safe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it might, people are like, oh, you control it. I'm like, not controlling her. Like, if she gets kidnapped, I should have told her, you shouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, don't be there. Aware. Yeah, like, just be aware. You feel me?
Yeah, I just think, and that is, it's always true. Like you said, it's unfortunate that it is. But like Niyah was saying, that conversation is getting played out when you think about all of the instances that people are in where these situations are happening. Like, there's no way to defend myself in my own home, in my bedroom, you know what I'm saying? Or defend myself when I had to go get groceries, you know, like in my dorm room, there's instances where it's like, how do I defend myself from that? There is no defense from that. It came to me.
You live in Georgia. You can get a gun without a permit.
Are you telling me that is, like, that's my defense?
I'm saying, like, for women it's a little bit different than men. Like Jay was saying, like, we don't feel as intimidated as y'all do physically. Mentally it's a whole different subject, but physically I don't. If a dude push up on me, I'm like, all right, bro, if you ain't get the duking, you feel me? So I'm saying for girls, like, I have a less chance of coming out unscathed with a girl with a gun than a girl without a gun.
But just like going back into, because we're still talking about defense. And it's like,
yeah, but this is not even defense though. If you have a gun on you, like a dude sees you have a gun on you, he ain't even gonna look your way.
Nah.
I promise you. No, I'm for real. Because guns aren't attractive on women. A lot of guys think that. Like, you're like, when you think of gun, like, even when y'all think of gun, you think man, like, automatically.
I think that would be attractive.
You saying attractive in the sense of like a man wouldn't come up to you on some like creepy stuff because of the fact he's not attracted to you because you have a gun on your head?
More than likely he wouldn't.
Because attraction isn't a factor in sexual harassment and sexual assault.
No, I'm not saying it like that, but I'm saying, like, if you have a gun on you, that guy thinks in his mind already, dang, guns kill people. I'm not going to do
anything, I think a gun will think like, this is going to be more of a hassle than I want it to be.
That's the point I'm getting at.
I think if like literally people who want to steal from you, people who want to rape you, people who want to take advantage of you in any way, they don't want hassle. They want it to be as easy as possible.
And they think, you know.
That's why they get innocent women who are by themselves. They like they're not doing anything. 8, 9 o'clock at night when there's no one around. Like, that's when most kidnaps happen. Like, when you're the most vulnerable. But if you have a gun on you at 3 o'clock during the day, it's a 99.99% chance that nothing will happen to you.
And I feel you. I just feel like all of these things are things that, like, we know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we know these things. So I think that's what Niyah was kind of talking about when she's saying, like, let's change the conversation from the things that we've been taught since we were kids.
Since we're little.
Yeah. Until, which me and Niyah were having this conversation. Like, let's start teaching kids consent in kindergarten. Yeah. Can I play with this toy?
Yeah. Can I hold your hand?
Can I give you a hug? No. Can I stand behind you in line? Like, I don't believe that we are grown up into a society where we're even consent is prioritized in any sense. Right. Not even just sexually. Yeah. Like, people are entitled to different, it doesn't even have to be physical, touch that we feel entitled to. Like, people feel entitled to get in front of you in line, different things. Yeah. So I think that changing that conversation from, get a gun, don't go to the gas station at night, which those are all important factors. Yes. But like, I feel like too little do we talk about. Yeah. Like, stop being creepy.
Yeah, and I think that, like you said, the lack of education is what got us here, especially in a college atmosphere, when people are forced to be on their own with no parental advisory, like no, guidance. They can be out as late as they want to. They have freedom. This is the first time they're on freedom, and like they're learning as they go. This is the problem that guys have right now, because just like how we started off with the definition of what is sexual assault, niggas don't know. You know what I'm saying? Niggas really don't like niggas are thinking the extremest of extreme, and they're not even like fathoming the fact that, like, you like catcalling, like they said, is due to the fact that it hasn't been taught and it hasn't been preached up until this point. Just like how we have sex ed and we have
8th grade one time.
Like, all of these factors should be something that is like, pushed on us like day and night.
Yeah, and that's true to an extent. I still think that, you have to hold in context the fact that there are people who know, and there are people who use the fact that some people don't know fully as their scapegoat for the fact that they didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
I think both statements can be true. Because there are niggas that know, but there are arguments that I've had with niggas like who literally do not. I'm like, bro,
no, for sure.
And they'll be like 23, 20. I'm like, are you being for real with me right now? And like, bro, what are you talking about? And they'll look at me and I can see in their eyes. I'm like, yo, you really don't know. Like, this really don't know. Like, this is wrong. And he's like, why is it?
Right.
Because of the way they're growing up. And like no one taught them.
Right.
The environment.
And that's the thing about going back to accountability and like having accountability with your friends. Even that's hard too, because having accountability within your circle, if you keep a circle around you that y'all like none of y'all are educated, all of y'all are doing the same shit, like then it's like, how are you guys gonna keep each other accountable? So then it goes back to education. But when you do notice these things, like you have to call out on it, like how we were talking about earlier with keeping people accountable. Like that doesn't always mean like cutting them off immediately. It means telling them what they did it wrong, being strict about it, and telling them like, this is what you need to fix. You need to go seek help. Like you need to figure out where this came from. You need to figure out where the foundation of like your sexual immorality comes from, because this is not right. You know what I mean? So it comes down to like the basis of it.
Yeah, and you can't go into that conversation with fear or reservation. Like when it comes to accountability, you have to be as straightforward as you possibly can. You have to be like, this is exactly what was wrong with what you just said or what you just presented, what you just did. And these are going to be the consequences of this situation if you continue to do this. Yeah. Like you can't be in fear of like the future of your relationship when you're holding somebody accountable. And
I just want to throw out some examples of like, because I feel like this is some things that a lot of guys or even girls don't know. But if someone says no and then they somehow end up having sex with you or doing any kind of sexual thing with you after they already said no, somehow they were coerced or seduced into that situation. Yeah. And at that point, you have no idea whether were actually really comfortable with it, because they're like, you know what, okay. And they were comfortable with it, or if they are uncomfortable with it, but they're just like, fine, I'm gonna just get it over with it. And it's just like,
and that's the thing.
That is not okay. If someone says no, and then at some point y'all have sex within that moment, something is wrong. Something is off. And that's what you need to think about deeper. So
sex will never be that deep.
I feel like that goes back into the whole like education thing, right? Because I didn't even find that out until literally last year, and y'all know how
coercion.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that a lot of guys and a lot of, like you said earlier, like a lot of girls don't know, that certain things are sexual assault, certain things are a form of rape.
That's true.
Because even like, and it happens more. I think it happens more so like in the guy community than the girl community, where like you're 16 and you have sex with an older person who happens to be a girl, and they be like, yeah, but that's what's up, and we hype it up because you're like this is cool, like you're like, yeah, bro, you smashing a college girl. It's like, nah, dog, like
I'm kind of really sad.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up, bro. Like, because roles reversed. If you were 20 and she was 16, that's really weird. Like, you can't do that. Sure. It's rape, my guy. Like, it's statutory rape. Yeah. And you know, like I said, it happens more so in the guy community, because I feel like we as men or not men, but little boys are highly sexualized, especially black boys.
Facts.
And not saying that girls aren't, but I see it and like I didn't realize it when I was younger, but I saw a lot of the time, because you know, like we mature, like guys mature really, you know, fast in high school. Like you go from being like 5 foot to like 6'1" with a beard and muscles
over one summer.
Yeah, over one summer, and the teacher's looking at you like kind of, you know, oh, you're so, you know, touch you on the shoulder, touch you on the chest, like because you know you've been in weight training, you're playing football, basketball, and they touch you, you know, and we think it's cool. We like, yo, man, yeah,
so and so teacher,
Miss Smith touched me, bro. I think she wanted to meet, and we stop it, and we think it's cool. Yeah. You know, like Jay know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like
no, that's the thing. It's a fact, and like you said, it's especially inside that time frame when like you for real like mature, and or if you just like get in a situation where you're close with an older, like, you know, girl or an older woman or whatever, and you can just see like, you know, just sexual like tension or like sexual like pursuits on you in situations and stuff. But like you said, it's just viewed in a completely different perspective because of the fact of how society already paints.
Yeah, right. And we hype it up
and on a double standard like, aspect.
The first thing men be like, bro, you gay, shut up, bro. Go ahead, get with that. Man,
right.
Gay. Like,
it's kind of shamed. Like, if
so
you
that
don't...
leads to the question of then, like, what do you guys, Jay and Devin, believe is like, what is the role of women in aiding in that?
Aiding in sexual assault from men?
And I'm talking about in like, I guess more so like the hypersexualization of like young men specifically, and I'm not really because obviously you address the women who are coming on to the young men, but like the women who aren't, like, what do you think is the role of those individuals?
So I don't as much blame the women that aren't because they don't know.
Yeah, but is there anything that you think that like
I really don't think there's something that they really can do other than make sure that you don't do it yourself.
Yeah, because
like there's that tweet that goes around that's saying it's crazy how a lot of girls get sexually assaulted, but no one knows a raper. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the same thing, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how many little black boys get raped, but no one knows a female raper. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like no one knows it.
Yeah, because even I know like throughout my college like experience too, like just when you go to like parties and stuff and people be like drunk and stuff and like they be extremely aggressive, like
they'll grab your meat.
Yeah,
like,
all of that.
They will literally grab you and you'd be like, whoa.
So it's like,
what just happened?
But it's like on some tip where, again, the topic of sexual assault wasn't as prevalent until like, the last like 2 years for real, when the R. Kelly like documentary really came out. So it's like all of these different like, symbolic like That's things crazy, weren't like as prevalent. I'm not going to say that just nobody was talking about it, but on a mainstream level, people weren't talking about it like that. So it's like,
which is crazy because that whole R. Kelly situation has been happening for years.
Yeah. It happened when we were kids.
Yeah. And they were protesting.
But the thing
about in like 2002.
But here's the thing though. The thing about it is, one, there was no like social media to have takes on it. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're getting one type of like perception of a situation. Definitely. And we are trained to believe anything that the news say. So it's like when the news is like, oh, they said it's not guilty, you know what I'm saying? And we are
not guilty.
We're teach like, okay, like, this is a court of law and he came out not guilty. So they couldn't have did it. Right. So everything, it has to be proof and evidence wise. And that's where.
Plus he was everyone's
favorite.
Like literally he was like Drake at that time. You know what I'm saying? It was like him and Jay-Z. So it's like, or like Chris Brown,
the craziest part? It was more women defending him than men.
Facts. Like. Yeah. That was facts.
And
I can't say I was too young.
Not say all women, but it was mostly like the older aunties.
Right. Yeah. Who were
definitely, because it's still old women in my family and they're like, I'm still streaming and I'm like,
It's weird.
It'd be awkward at parties because like when like at least our generation, like when they play his song, we kind of just stand there. We'd be like,
we'd be like,
but also you gotta think about it too, about the fact that we have conversations like this at a more rapid pace than that type of generation. Like they're having Facebook conversations.
I feel like that older or our parents' generation and older kind of like
sweep it on the rug.
They dismiss the conversation. Like I feel like it could present itself, but it's like they kind of approach it on some like. Basically, the argument of like not separating an artist from what they have done.
Yeah, and I think that comes from like also just like how how you are so rooted in something like conditioned. You're conditioned over like times that you're 40 plus years of thinking this type of way. It's you're not gonna really swap that in like 6 months, like a year possibly,
But it's our generation to change it. Though.
Yeah.
Facts.
Like,
and those conversations have to be had between our generation and that generation.
And I think that generation has to be open to it.
And it'd be hard for us.
Well, they don't want to have the conversation. They never want to have
they don't. Like, they don't want to have any conversations at this point.
They don't want to talk to us. They never want to do it. They never want to talk about it.
It's a respect. It's a battle of respect because they feel like, you're challenging their like authority.
They don't want to sacrifice anything if it comes from your opinion, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to sacrifice R. Kelly because you told me that I'm not supposed to be listening to him anymore.
I want to do it on my own accord without you having to tell me that.
I'm not going to do.
And I'm not going to do it now that you already told me that I have to.
Yeah,
like
that's fact.
It's pride.
So then you asked us what you think girls can, or women your age can do with the sexualization of black boys who be like 16, 15, 14 because they mature so fast. Is there anything that you think that black men like our age, like 30 or younger, like 30 to 18, who can do about black girls being sexualized from a young age?
You know what they can do is actually like make it a thing to say how weird it is. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that video of T.I. and his son.
Yeah.
Like, rolling a blunt.
Let's not.
Oh, did y'all talk about it?
Bro, Jay hates T.I.
Yes, I don't know how
T.I.
you can
is the bane of Jay's life. He hates T.I.
He just is weird to me, but he's all just like Ray J. Ray J is weird as heck to me. Like, I just don't.
That's me with J-Lo.
Get him. I don't get neither of them. But he was literally like rolling a blunt in the pool, and he was looking down at him with the phone like, "What are you doing, boy? What are you doing?" But I'm just thinking like. But you broadcasted to the whole world that your daughter
that you made your daughter go get pap smears to see if she was sexually active, which isn't even a thing, by the way.
Rude.
I think T.I. is T.I. is the worst type of parent. Well, not the worst, but I wouldn't consider T.I. a role model to be
in
a
the
father.
slightest.
Because like, it's one thing to want your kids to go to the doctor to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like, my mom was definitely Devin, have you gone to the heart doctor? You better make that appointment, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to do that, and it's another thing to be like, are you doing this? Because if you're doing this, I'm gonna be upset that you've done this. Like, and I think T.I. is really a terrible parent, because me personally, I don't care what my kids do. I mean, I care to an extent, but I don't really care what women do, really, in general.
I just feel like even if he was like, where he can have that conversation with her, that's a conversation it's okay to have with your father and a daughter. But to broadcast it to the whole world about what she got going on, about her medical business,
I feel like that's not my daddy business. It might be my daddy business if I pop up pregnant and you are funding my child. But other than that,
well, I think what Niyah is saying,
can give me the safe sex talk. But stop asking my business.
I think what Niyah is saying, that like, it's okay for your parents to talk to you about, you know, sex,
anything sexually.
STDs,
Like, I think it's okay to be as open with your parents as you want to be.
Yeah, but I think it should come on your own accord, though.
It should come. I don't think it should be broadcast.
So do you think?
Not at all.
So are y'all saying like your parents should just be okay with like you having sex? And I'm talking about guy and girl. I'm not like excluding. Or is it a problem if your parent is like not wanting you to have sex and like concerned about, again, guy or girl having like sex like growing up? Like, when do you not care about it? Because if my 10-year-old is like having sex, I'm gonna care about having sex. Like, if and I feel like I would be kind of like apprehensive.
I feel like that's an extreme example.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, guy. But when
he's asking, like,
when
I think it's, hopefully you're not having sex at 10 years old, but when you do eventually start having sex, I think it is okay at whatever age you do for your parent to like understand that sex is something natural. Sex is something that like you're really gonna decide on your own, whether you're telling your child to have sex or not have sex or whatever age. It is really that child's decision whenever they're going to. So I think it is a responsibility for a parent to sit down with your child and make it comfortable to talk with them at any point.
I agree, because I think the thing is, if you give your child the energy that like there's a fear or there's a taboo surrounded by it, your kid's not going to tell you anything. Right. So now you don't get any jurisdiction when it comes to their sex life. Right. Trying to make sure that they're safe, trying to make sure that, you know, they're clean, that they're having, I guess, enjoyable sex, you know, sex with consent and things like that. Because when you're bringing the conversation up, you're pressing the conversation, and it really matters about tone, diction, delivery, all of those things play into like how you have that conversation with them, because you don't want it to get to a point where you're over sexualizing your child. Right.
I think it depends on the child and depends on the parent, because, and it also depends on the gender of the child as well, because the talk you have with a boy is going to be different than the talk you have with a girl, because boys can get pregnant, girls can get pregnant. Like, girls can only get pregnant once at a time.
Little boys can get girls pregnant though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But a boy can get a girl pregnant, like 6 or 7 girls pregnant at once. I've seen a dude get 3 girls pregnant at the same time.
I have too. Actually, 2, but
I think the conversation should be an honest one. It might sound rude and it might sound scary, but there are good things and bad things that come.
So are we talking about the sex talk, or are we talking about like, are you having sex? Like, I think asking to know like the business.
I think those are kind of related though.
I think that having like the sex talk could kind of will lead into like saying like, okay, like, are you a virgin? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like if you're gonna have the sex talk from beginning to end. Don't have the sex talk and focus solely on your child's sex life specifically. Talk about consent. Mm-hmm. Talk about
are you even ready?
Sexual health.
Yes.
Talk about dialogue about, do you feel like you will be tied to someone after, or do you think that you're someone that is a little bit more passive when it comes to sex? Like, I think having a conversation with someone that doesn't start and end at, are you having sex? Don't have sex. If I find out you having sex, I'm gonna be pissed. You're not living in my house.
Right.
Yeah. Have the conversation from start to end. Like, let's talk about everything. Just like we were talking about consent with kindergartners.
Right.
Have that conversation in your house too, not just at home. Can I play with your toy? Can I give you a kiss? Can I give you a hug? Like, and you gradually build that conversation up. That's probably the most, and I'm not a parent, so I can't speak to it. But I would imagine that would be one of the most progressive ways to have a conversation about sex with your child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, I wish that was the way that, what I'm saying, my parents talked to me about sex. Because it's like, there was no for real, like, sex talk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to this day, I for real ain't really talked. I ain't really talked to my mom about like sex, like on like that type of level. Like, she's like, all right, now I'm like, I don't need you to be out here, like, like
she
getting
ain't saying that no more.
Yeah, but
oh my god,
but my dad ain't like, he talked to me about like, you should not be doing X, Y, and Z, like as far as like on a consent tip. Like, he talked to me about consent stuff, but we ain't talking about like my sex life and like my virginity and all that until after I had a situation blow up that he addressed it, thinking that something happened that didn't happen. And now I have to tell you that I'm active sexually.
Right.
So it's like, like we didn't, and that was when I'm 18, years old, about to go into college.
Well, my experience is a little bit different because I had an older brother.
Yeah, and I'm the first. Yeah,
so. I don't know if y'all had an older sibling, but
I'm the oldest.
No, I was the first too. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe mine's a little bit different. Damn, I'm the only youngest. Damn, man, y'all suck.
Ain't even a middle
I always
child.
think about that now with my baby sister. Like, I wonder how it's affecting, because me and Kiki be talking about stuff all the time. Sometimes we talk about it around her, like not sex in particular, but just like past boyfriends, relationships, like everything that we learn. We try to like, so we don't do this. Yeah. Please be careful. And she was like, I don't even like, what are you talking about?
I don't even like boys.
My brother,
like, I don't know what you're talking
he
about.
put me on to like a lot of game. And when I say game, I mean like this conversation. Sorry, just slang. But he put me on to like to a lot of this stuff. You feel me? So like I never really had the talk with like my parents. I was just fortunate enough to have like a.
So did they just assume that your brother had like a good enough sex talk with you, or was it just not your parents' MO to do that?
I'm not sure what they think.
And that's the same
but
thing.
Like, my dad is one of my close, like I consider my dad one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
Like, if I could, I would make him the best man in my wedding, but you can't really do that. But like, my dad, like, we talk about like, he talks to me about marriage. Like, do you want to marry Anita? Like, what are you thinking? Like, are you saving? Like, he's put me on the game to anything that I ask him about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how to buy a house, do credit, like, and he's one of the people who told me like, yo, if someone touch a girl, you beat their ass. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's facts. You feel me? So like, I don't think he would be opposed to the sex talk or anything like that. But again, my brother really put me on.
That's different from me. Yeah. My daddy do not want to talk about my sex, because I grew up with a single father, so I have a completely different experience.
It's different, though.
And I'm the oldest daughter. There's 3 daughters and 1 son. Oh, wow. My dad gave my brother condoms and was like, all I ask is that you put this condom on.
Oh my!
I think it's different.
I have never had that conversation with my dad, not one time.
But I think it's different between like a father and a son and a father and a daughter.
Definitely.
And then even a mother and a son and a mother and
completely. That's what I'm saying. It's completely different when I'm raised by a single father, because it's not even like,
did he just
he assumes I've had the conversation with my mom type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Did he expect for you to just not have it? Or did he?
No, my dad actually thought I was having sex like
already.
Way
Wow.
like my dad just, I don't know what. I guess I just gave off that energy. But
no, it's not that.
I just genuinely was not interested in boys.
Yeah,
Or
no,
girls
for
or
sure.
anything.
In high school, nothing. Like, that was the same thing for me, though. Like, but
I was watching Disney Channel still.
Like, my
I hate you.
I had like a really close relationship. I still have a very close relationship with my parents. So I've
You love your dad.
Why you say that?
Daddy's girls. Like you just had him on there like 2 days ago, didn't you? Or like yesterday.
You did.
It was you, Kiki, and your younger sister.
That was
and,
last weekend.
and you was like, we look just like
Say
daddy.
hey, daddy.
I was like, bro, she's definitely a daddy's girl.
Okay.
Same though, same.
Thank you. No, but my mom, like, she's talked about sex with us when we were very, very young. Like, she raised us to always know, like, if anybody touches, like, literally I'm sure she was telling us when we were in her stomach, if anybody touches you, you tell me. If anyone touches you, you tell me. If anybody touches you, doesn't matter, uncle, dad, brother, grandpa, grandma, cousins, teachers, anybody. Like, she told it, like, I don't know if I remember. I just know it was in me to always know that. Like, all of my sisters know that. I have 2. And then so... Like the littlest thing, I always knew I could always like come to her and ask. I remember when I was little, I watched this show. I feel like it was Desperate Housewives when I used to watch it, but there was like a man masturbating outside of a kid's school on TV or whatever. Like, you couldn't see him you couldn't see him masturbating, of course, but like whatever show it was. And I remember I was super young, so the teacher said like, "Oh, arrest him, he's masturbating." And I'm watching, I'm just like, what is masturbating? And so I go and ask my mom, I was like, what's masturbating? She's like, where did you see that? I was like, I don't know, just TV. Like what it is. Yeah, you know. But she told me, you know, like crazy. Everything.
That was like the energy that, like, for instance, I remember one time we were in the car and Bedrock was playing, and so my brother asked my dad what a G-spot was. And the only reason I ever learned what a G-spot was, which doesn't exist, was because my dad told my brother it doesn't exist.
For girls or guys?
Scientifically, that does not exist. Google it.
For guys or girls?
It does not exist. Both. It doesn't exist. Take love and sex class. But the only reason I ever found out what that was because my dad told my brother when I just happened to be in the car. Like, that I could ask my dad anything. He was not having that conversation. I don't know if it was just like, he just, I mean, I'm pretty sure we both can't understand like why. I don't know. He just didn't want to have that conversation with his daughter. But that was just not like, I think I had to just kind of assume. Like, I really, when I got to college, learned so much more about sex than what I would have ever learned before I got here. Yeah. I actually took love and sex because I didn't know anything.
Oh, wow.
So you were saying that your mom
told me any
about
and everything.
The assault thing, right? You she said like, you know, if anything happens to you, you can tell me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How do you think like that can play like for like when you're a mom, right? Like, how do you think like we should, because like how Dave was saying, her father isn't taught, and I kind of understand why, because you got a daughter and you're like, it's very tough. Yeah, so like, how do you think like we as men?
I think because like when I started to learn more about sex, and because even like you can still hear about it and everything, but until you actually experience it, until you actually like whatever, it's just like a whole different experience. So at one point my dad did sit down and talk to me about it. Like, he just assumes, of course, that my mom handles all of it. But then when he did realize like it was a thing in my life, he sat me down and he like how we said, like, where's your mind at it, like, in about it? Are you like, do you understand what all sex is? Do you like, are you healthy to do it? Like, how do you feel? Does this person make you feel this way? Like, he sat down and he had all that whole conversation with me too. So I was really surprised that he was, because when I found out that and he was like, and then he wanted to talk to me late at night, and I was like, oh my gosh, how's this gonna go? This is so weird. It's so weird. And he didn't make it weird at all. He literally just like, I just want to check up. I just want to see. I just want to hear what your mind's at. I just want to make sure you're comfortable. Yeah. All that stuff.
I think that kind of plays into like this overarching theme that men, unfortunately, have so much power when it comes to this conversation about sexual assault. Exactly. Like, a father talking to their child about sexual assault holds so much weight. And I'm not going to say more so than a mom, but there's just, maybe it's just because, like I said, I grew up with a single father, but there's this innate, like, I look at my dad like a hero. My dad's not perfect, but literally like he's like my hero. And I know no matter what, like my dad would do literally anything to make sure that I was safe. So, and I think that men to some degree hold that same weight. Like I know it means like so much to not only just me but other people when Jay gets on Twitter and says something about sexual assault and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't see enough. I don't see enough guys like calling out niggas.
I don't see enough talking. It made me mad.
Scared.
And it kind of makes me upset because and I always make this tweet, like you'll tweet about everything else.
Or
you'll make a post, or you'll upload to Instagram, or you'll put up a story about you doing something, working out. But yet, if someone gets assaulted, you won't say anything. You'll even post a GoFundMe for the person that got assaulted. You'll even post.
Let me stop.
Stop, please don't do this. You'll do everything else under the sun, but actually confront the dude or girl, more than likely a guy, but the dude or girl who assaulted somebody.
And sometimes I'm not even asking you for confrontation. Like you could even tweet a very general statement about how you stand against sexual abusers, and it would be more than you not saying anything at all. Because I'm gonna assume if you said nothing, that you're standing with that individual.
Or not even tweet. Like you could even text the person, like if you know them. You know what I'm saying? You could like, because I know not everyone's vocal, and that would be very unfair for me to assume everyone's vocal. Like I'm a very vocal person, but you can even text the person or talk to the person, like, yo, I know what happened to you wasn't cool, and I stand with you. If you never need anything, I got you. You feel me?
You see,
you know, like,
and like, and like I was about to say, like, cause I always try to like reflect when like it's like topics like this, like, you know, on like, am I doing enough? Because of the fact that I feel like I'm more of a behind the scenes type of person. Even though I'm a forefront in like spaces and like people like respect me, I'm somebody who likes to have genuine conversations. I hate social media. Everybody and their mom that knows me knows that I hate social media. So it's like I'm not somebody who's just like trying to do the back and forth with people, trying to like, you know, I don't do that. You know, I do it
there
on.
There should be no back and forth about this. I feel like I feel like this is very
black and white area. And you know, and so I make my stances, but I also try to educate, and I try to like, you know, have conversations. Literally, our black men don't cheat. Like, group chat was made off of that.
Actually, it's crazy. It really was
made off of that.
Like,
you know,
3 years ago.
It was literally 3 years ago. I was like, we need to like, you know, talk about this. Let's like all come together and like try to like educate ourselves.
We had 2 events.
Yeah, and we had the 2 events that
people
literally.
But I feel like it's only us that talk about it though. Like literally.
And that's the unfortunate thing, because unfortunately some people are behind the scenes people, but some people have the platforms where you have to say something.
That's why and that's what I was about to say too. And then also with me being an alumni, you know what I'm saying? And my only literal connection to Kennesaw today is Day. So it's like, you know, I'm not like I'm not somebody, like no disrespect to Kennesaw at all, but like I'm not somebody who wants to be considered a Kennesaw figure. You know what I'm saying? I want to be considered
your own person,
my own person outside of my identity being my school. So it's like, you know, with situations like that, I can't just, I be feeling in my head that I don't want to just be like, blank, blank, blank is, you know what I'm saying? Or blah, 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 you know, and I want to be more general as far as, because I'm not just having Kennesaw people that follow me. I have a grand scale of people who are looking at me and also tuned in on me on a business level. So it's like, I filter out that. That's why I be trying to go under the table and even try to connect with the people who are still in power at the school to be able to say the situation.
Mobilize those individuals.
But they have to want to do that, you know what I'm saying? Because we have done that, you know what I'm saying? We've reached out to multiple people and be like, you need to say X, Y, and Z. We've typed up paragraphs to say to people.
I think
MLA format.
People think that's weird though. People think that's overdoing it. People think it's just like, why are you still involved, whatever it might be. But it's like, when it comes to something that is this serious, you should really be like, it would be weird if you weren't doing this shit. Because it's like, I don't think people really understand how big it is and how much
until
it affects
it's them or someone they love.
Exactly.
I think I realized it was bigger than just like a Kennesaw thing or a Fulton County thing when a very known photographer in Atlanta, like who got thousands and like hundreds, like he's super famous. One of his stories, like the girl who posted her story on Instagram, and like he's married with a wife and kid and everything, and it was literally insane. And like I was with a shoot with E-Man, and we were reading the post together, and like it blew. Like we sat down, and we was like we took
mind blowing.
like we literally had to like leave the event because like it literally just drained us because we was like again, and so his story. So like I don't know, when you become a photographer, like random models follow you from all over, like the DMV, Baltimore, like everywhere, like Nigeria, here, Texas. His story was posted by a girl that I don't know, but we talk on Instagram. She lives in Brooklyn, and he's a photographer in Atlanta, and her story was posted in Brooklyn. And then another girl posted the same story in Texas. And I was like, dang, dude, that's 3 different states in the span of 12 hours.
Wait. The same photographer had 3 different girls?
No. It was
her
the same
story got posted.
But it was posted by 3 different people in 3 different states. And they were all girls. And it made me realize, like, because that's why
similar stories, not the same exact story.
No, they were posting her original post.
Her original post story.
Okay.
And I was like, dang, it really shows you how interconnected people really are.
Right.
And like, it's really more than this.
Because she wasn't even from Atlanta.
No, she moved.
She moved
with him and
and like the whole thing. And the crazy part is like, well, not even the crazy part, but I mean, yeah, kind of like he has a wife and a kid. He has a daughter. Not even he has a daughter.
Yeah.
And then like the text messages, he didn't even deny it. He was like, I don't want to lose my job.
Let me meditate on it.
And I was like, you thinking about losing your job? Like, bro,
I didn't think about that before.
You entered a girl without her consent. You know what I'm saying? Her feeling comfortable.
Like, and that's
disgusting.
That's disgusting. And when all of it started happening, it really just makes you think like, dang, like who is out here? How deep is
this industry in the photography? Atlanta,
just period though. Like the fact that like you just don't know who is weird. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like it makes you really reflect on. You can't really put nothing past anybody. Anyone,
even people that you think you're cool with.
Definitely,
literally.
Like you could be, because like I feel like people that you're cool with will hide it from you even more. So
No, people that you're cool with may not even know it's in them. They may not even acknowledge that it's something for real. Because like we talked about earlier, there's people who know the stuff that they do, but there's people who don't even acknowledge, like we talked about too, the level, the range of sexual assault. So they don't even acknowledge. Like there's so many things.
I can't be around people who got that energy though, because like you know a nigga like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not around no cat calling ass niggas, bruh. I'm not around no
and this most recent thing have really got me on some like at this point. Even the slightest thing is like, I really don't want to. I can't.
Yeah, I'm not for it because some of y'all might know I was in charge of a dance team like 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I helped do like the marketing, like to get it, and now they got like their own thing. They run it. I love it. It's beautiful. But
I know that.
Yeah. So because I was a marketing major, so I wanted to put stuff on my resume. So I was applying for marketing jobs. Well, not marketing jobs, but marketing positions at a bunch of orgs, and they were the only org that accepted me. And I was like, all right, like let me, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so I got really close with the girls, like really, like I felt like an uncle. You know what I'm saying? Devin, like we here, can you do this? I was like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm coming. Right. And one of the girls was really, really drunk one night. Like girls can get drunk. I don't really care. Like, do you girl? Just don't throw up in my car because that might be mad. We're gonna have a real fight. But anyways, she was really drunk. She was passed out. And it's like 7 of them in the party. And so, I'm trying to collect them because at this point it's like 2:30 in the morning. I'm trying to leave. Like, I'm not gonna do this. And one of them was really like passed out. Like, I'm talking about she was gone. Like, she was laid out. Like, if you touched her, you in the wrong, my guy. And so I pick her up. I'm trying to pick her up, like, carry her, like not in a weird way, but like they can't carry her, so I'm the only guy here. I gotta carry her. So I'm carrying her to the car. I'm leaving the party, and these dudes like, nah, bro, you can keep her. She's straight. And I look at these guys, and I'm like, damn, they finna beat the shit out of me, cause it's like 4 of them. It's 1 of me. Now if it's 1-on-1, we can talk. But it's 4. I'm like, dang, and like, nah, bro, you can leave her. And like they blocked me from leaving the party, and I'm just like,
what? Where was this?
This was like 2 years ago at U Point, like 2 or 3 years ago at U Point. Yeah, and it was like a real moment. And that's kind of when I got super, super serious. Like, I've always been against rape and sexual assault and all that stuff. I was like, man, don't do that. Like, whatever. But that was the one that kind of changed me. Because I was like, dang, dude, if I'm a guy and it's 4 dudes against me, like, imagine if I wasn't here. Like, what would have happened? Like, to this day, like, anything could have happened. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of when I got super, super vocal about it.
And to that point too, like, you know, and that's also, you know, something that we as men have to work on, because obviously, like, you know, y'all conversation versus our conversation is not like the same type of conversation. We're not having conversations with our parents on about how to be a better ally all the times for like women. So it's like it takes you being in a relationship or a situation or like, you know, on your own in order to like for real like be like, okay, I'm about to stand with women on this topic that relates mainly.
That will trigger you.
Yeah,
when it's somebody you love.
Exactly. And so
I wasn't even cool with shorty like that. Like she was just part of, like, we were just, you know, hanging out or whatever.
Part of the group.
Yeah. And it was just like a surreal moment for me, because I was like, yo, like,
because like
there really are niggas out here who,
because like you said, like, it's like you're aware of yourself. So like, I know, like, before I had like, you know, like my like serious like relationship, before I had like my sister or whatever who was just born, like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna handle myself. You know, I was very much like that. I'm gonna handle myself. I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing everything right. I'm gonna make sure I'm protecting my friends. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know, you know what I'm saying, the scale, or because again, it wasn't a conversation that was just happening 3 years ago and beyond. So it's like, it was just like, make sure you not on that weird energy, make sure that your niggas aren't on that weird energy, and make sure that you protecting your circle. And then it was like, keep it pushing. But the topic of allyship, that's where, like, you know, when we're going into like 2020 and beyond, that's the topic that we have to kind of like understand more, because guys literally don't know the depthness of like,
it doesn't affect them. Like,
you know, it doesn't affect, that's just like us with Hispanics and what they have to do with like immigration. Like, though we feel for them, we're not just advocating for immigration, like reform, like, you know, or, you know, whether that's the LGBT community and you're not LGBT, like, you're not talking about it. You're not as deep into it unless that's your passion. So it's like, but with topics like this is something that I don't think that, and not to say that that's like anything that separates, you know, protecting identities and like, you know, gender, but we have to do a better job at educating as men. You know, we have to have a better job at getting educated on how to help in those situations, because guys are really like.
But then I also tell girls, and I know it's not fair, but like tell me. Like, it's hard for me to be an ally to you.
Tell you what, like
tell me who did it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not, and if you want, tell me what happened to you.
I think that's kind of hard though. Sometimes
it is hard. And I said in the beginning, I was like, it's not fair.
Yeah, but not as far as telling, but it's like the certain girls aren't as like comfortable with like men, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have friends that like you're real close with, but sometimes you have it where like, you know, you fall out with a friend and stuff like that, and then now like they know all your business and stuff. And so I think that it gets kind of hard, you know, with girls like expressing like trauma.
I get that, and that's why I say it's not fair. Like, when I say it's not fair, I mean it's not fair to them for me to ask this. Yeah. But at the same time, though, like, it's extremely hard for me to be an ally if I don't know.
Yeah. I think what's good and what Day does is she makes you know that you're an ally. So it's like, I feel like because Day like makes it very clear that I will cut anybody off. It's like, you don't even have to tell me something is wrong. You can just even tell me that like someone assaulted you, and you know I will comfort you. Like, you don't even got to tell me who it is. Like, but if you ever do want to tell me who it is, you know I got you 100%. Yeah. There's not a question.
And that takes a toll. I think, because I've always said that. Me and I have talked about this before, but that has always, we literally
every subject.
You be like, girl, oh my God.
Literally, but that has always, because like you were saying, not everybody is going to be ready to have that conversation yet. Some people will never be ready to say who did something to them. So I'm like, well, I want everybody to know, even my friends, the people, my closest friends, like, the second that I find out something, you should have no doubts in your mind that I'm not finna cut you off.
Exactly.
Like, you should know my allyship runs that deep. And because of that, I have had to like prepare myself and kind of strengthen myself when it comes to this topic, because I've had so many people come out to me about their situations and the people who have hurt them, and to be literally as frank and calling what it is to people who have assaulted them. And that's why I don't know if y'all, I don't move in Kennesaw functions like that anymore, because I can't, like, I can't even imagine what
it would be like. 'Cause, you know, I graduated, but I can't even
I love my status.
I can't even imagine what it would be like going back to campus after all of this stuff. Like, I wouldn't even know how to look at anybody. Like,
and see, like, I do agree with you completely that some people will never be ready. And maybe it's just the way, like, I don't know, y'all know me on like a personal, maybe it's just the way like I am, but I'm a very like get it done type of person.
Yeah.
Like
Capricorn stuff.
Yeah. Like, to me, like, it's not me saying I want to know your business, but it's me like, all right, who did it?
I completely understand.
I'm finna go. Let's handle this.
Because I mean, I have the same struggle. Even if it, like, I have the struggle with somebody will open up to me about something and then be like, don't do anything. Right. And it's like, you know, being the person that I am, like,
it's so hard to.
It's not in my nature to do that.
I'll be ready to swing on niggas.
I'm sorry,
like, you talking about punching? I am the person. I am the punching nigga.
I'm sorry, I can't. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm not the one. You can't tell me something bad happened to you and then tell me how to do anything about it. It's just not in my nature.
But that doesn't. You see how that kind of contradicts how you was like, you're the friend that's like, tell me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
yeah, but
so
I'm saying,
at that same time, because you
like,
have to. What your position is when someone comes to you is just to make them comfortable. Yeah. Like, yes, you're gonna be angry, but your only job is to make them comfortable and let them rant to you like what this experience has done to them, and know that they can come to you without ever having to think they regret like telling you. And so if they're being comfortable is you not going to this person, like, you can tell them how mad you are, you could do all of that, but
I know,
at the same
Dev, it's hard, bro.
Bro, I get that, but like the way my
it's,
brain works, right? And I don't know what it is, but it's like, if you, so like Niyah, right? Let's say you come to me and be like, yo, X, Y, and Z did whatever to me, right? The first thing I think about, like, dang, if he did it to her and she who she is, how many other people did he do it to? Yeah. Or like, if one of my guy friends tell me about a girl, I'm like, how many other people did she do it to? Like, that's just the way my brain, and I'm not, and again, I know it's not fair to y'all to tell me that. But like, that's just the way my brain thinks.
But that's not a problem. You're just that friend. They like you're that friend in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like and so
I really am right. Like, I don't want to boost myself, but like, I really am right or die. Like, even people that aren't my friends, where something bad happens to them. Like, I really, like, even if I didn't know Day, right? Like, I've never talked to Day a day in my life, and she told me, yo, like, I just see the way you talk about it. X, Y, and Z happened to me on this day, and this is the guy that did it. Like, bro, I am on go. Like, cause like, to me, there's no point to, like, my dad says it's free to be real. Like, to me, a real man doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So and then also as black men, we're seen as like the worst people on the earth.
Facts.
Like, we're seen as monsters. Like, from birth, we're seen as monsters.
Baby.
So whenever like whenever I see a black man like do something like that, I just be like, dog, you're bringing us all down. So like, I don't want to be associated with you.
That's the same thing with the photographer conversation.
Facts.
Bring all y'all down.
Yeah, like bruh, and that's kind of like why I don't even like doing shoots like that. Like certain, like, you know,
like nude shoots and stuff like that.
Like, I've turned out like 10 nude shoots. Like, seriously, like, to me, money's not that important because I don't want to be known as that type of photographer. Like, if you go on my page, it's beauty and graduations. That's all I do. Beauty and Independence Days, of course. But beauties and graduations, like, let's do some beauty shots, some graduation shots, and let's get to the money. I don't like doing the demon girls. Yo, you trying to do a nude shoot? Like, to me, that's creepy. Yeah. Why are you doing that? You know, and I don't like it. So when girls be telling me like something, like stuff happens to them, I'm just like, because if something happened to, like, and I know that girls don't like this example, but if something happened to my daughter or my girlfriend or like my mom or something like that, like, dog, I'm in jail.
Killing.
If Anita told me something happened to her, I'm sorry. Killing. The pacifist in my bio is gone. I'm no longer none of that. I'm about all of that, like, right now, for real.
So what do y'all think about What is the balance between being on go for someone, you know, over a predator, versus, you know, someone lying on the situation and then it coming out that they lied? Like, what is the balance between that? Because that's the argument that a lot of people like to make. And even though the percentage is low, there are times that it's like
9% or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're my friend and you tell me and you know the way I am, and you lie to me about it, I promise you it's going to be worse for you than it was for that person.
But not even with friends, like on a general level, like even on social media, like how that stuff came out. And then there was this one boy who literally had like
screenshots.
Yeah, he had screenshots of what, like how does it go down for that situation? If he didn't have the screenshots, he would have forever been, you know, split between.
Well, this issue mostly plagues black men, especially like more like famous black men. Because it happens all the, like, you guys hear about the D1 football player that lost his scholarship, and then like a year later the girl came out and said that she lied about it.
I think I saw
that. Dude, he was like the top 10 recruit in the nation.
I saw that, yeah.
And this girl, she said, oh, he and like he was about to be booked. She was white? Yeah, she was white, and he was about to be booked for it, and then she came out and said, oh, I lied about it. But it's been like a year and a half, so he's lost all his scholarships. Like no one wants to touch him.
Friends, family, like.
So did they have any type of trial and anything?
No, nothing happened to her.
Oh, okay.
She just went like his life is like he can no longer get the opportunities that he had
because his name is already attached to the stuff.
Even if it was a lie though,
like
it's because she came out and said, yeah, I lied about it because like they had like a one night stand and she didn't like that. He didn't like her because it was like a whole, you know, like some girls be salty that like you don't like them back, and it was that situation, and his whole life is ruined from it. But if that happens, I think that person should have some type of repercussion, like a fine or some type of jail time or something like that.
So I know, but what do you do about people who come out and say, like, even if it's not a celebrity, like what if it's more within the community and they say, I didn't do this? Like, how are we supposed to figure that out? Like, especially like, I guess I would ask this more for Dave because you are so like 100%. What do you do? How does that go about in your mind?
So what I always say is, and I've told this to people that I'm close with and everything, do not be hurt. If you know you are my friend, if you know you're close to me, do not be hurt if something comes out and I immediately cut you off. If there is to be I would rather be the person that defended a victim than the person that vouched for someone accused of something. You know what I'm saying? And I've had people ask me the question of, oh, you know, if somebody makes up a claim about you and it's not true, like, what do you do? And I always say, it's really hard advice to give because one, like we already said, the percentage is low of the instances when that happens, but then also that's a hard thing to prove. So I always say, one, don't wait. Like, I don't know who told people, wait a second, wait a couple hours before you address it. That's the worst idea ever. Address it immediately. I acknowledge these claims and I stand against but I want to make it known to the public that these are not true. Provide as much evidence as you can. Like, be transparent. There shouldn't, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if something, you know, something isn't true, you should not have to hold back any information about anything. Unfortunately, there may be instances where you don't have any evidence to back you up. And that's a tough situation. That's tough. I don't even really know fully how to address that, but man, transparency and timeliness are so important when it comes to addressing truth and lies.
So question. So when let's say, like, you know, somebody is transparent, timely, you know, it's already out, you know, people start, you know, cutting them off or whatever, blah, blah. So like, how does the public go about reacting on whether or not to like go back and talk to that person or welcome them back in after they was transparent
after
and timely?
After they proved that they were wrong, or are you saying just in general? Like they're just being transparent, but we don't know if this is still true or not.
It's up in there.
Yeah, it's like, it's up in it. Like, cause you know how you can't really prove like rape or you can't prove sexual assault and stuff like that. So it's like, there's claims you're being timely, you being like transparent, and then you know you're saying it, but of course you still have like people who already was like in their mind like, okay, you did it, you know, and I'm moving forward. And then so like how do you go about, you know, either welcoming that person back in or just letting it be where it is?
I think it depends on your relationship with that person. Like if one of my close, like, you know, like me and you're close, right? If you were accused of something, I would really have to sit like face to face, like not even on the phone, like face to face, sit down, talk to you about it and see what exactly happened. Because like Eric Vogue gave one of the best statements I've ever seen someone ever give, like period. You know what I'm saying?
What was it? I didn't see it.
On Twitter, Eric Vogue, like he gave a really,
I think you was on your fast around that time.
Let me go pull it up.
pretty much he gave a statement. He was like saying, like, I get what my friend has done and it was wrong and everyone's absolutely right for being mad. But at the end of the day, like I've been friends with him for a really long time. And as his friend, I have to hold him accountable, like being his friend and holding him accountable. He's like, I can't just cut him off because then like nothing gets changed. So I feel like if cause I think I consider me and Jay pretty close, you know, like he's probably gonna come to my wedding and I hope I come to your wedding too. But like he would definitely get an invite to my wedding. You feel me? Like my girlfriend knows I talk about him, right? Everything. Like I'd be like, yeah, we in the group chat talking. She was like, oh my God, you and your, right? So I would have to really sit him down and be like, okay, what happened? Like tell, and like, don't lie to me. And hopefully me and him being as close as we are, he would tell me the truth and be like, okay, this is what happened. Like I did do this or I didn't do this. And then from there, regardless of what the public thinks of me, if I can help him change as a person, then I feel like I've done my part. And the public can be mad. Like it is what it is. Like you can be salty all you want. But if I've helped him change and be a better person, I think that's better than me cutting him off completely.
I mean, I agree with that. I think that's what friends are supposed to be for. I think that's what, like, because at the end of the day, like how we were talking about range of sexual assault, like for people who really just have like sexual immorality and they don't, they're not educated on the subject in general and like what's right and what's wrong, you do have people within your circle who do know it. And once they realize that you're not fully there, that's what you're supposed to do as a responsible friend. Like that's what a friend is really for. It's like help you build back up your foundation. So it's like if you really are close to that person, like show them their wrongs, like, and help build them back up, you know. So I get that, but I'm not sure if that was your question.
Yeah, I was just like, cause you know, again, people don't know our relationship, you know what I'm saying? So it's like they're not knowing the conversation that you're having with me behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? None of us know what these conversations are going on. Right. All we see is the timeline. Right. So it's like, you know, if accusation is out in the public and somebody like, you know, is accused and it's timely and it's timely and it's transparent when they're, you know, defending themselves, how as a public should everybody move?
I don't know if there's a way to say.
There's really no right way for that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to say how the public.
I misread the question. I'm sorry.
No, you good. No, I'm just saying like, cause you know, let's say like Dave was saying, like, you know, she's transparent and timely and stuff, but like people already went about saying like, you know, this happened, like I'm gonna cut her off, like, and she's defending herself. When does the public say like, oh, okay, like,
I think action will get people to change, like to see how you act publicly.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I agree with that because
like if you're,
let me add this: timeliness and transparency only get you so far. Sometimes we need to see that you are actively working against the actions that you acted.
Yeah, you did.
That you, yeah.
Like, are you doing things that? But like, if I was accused of sexual assault,
this is a good one though. I mean, it sounds good.
Yeah, like,
but that's my thing too. You gotta actually be holding.
You have to be about it. Yeah. You have to be about it.
Anyway,
sounded nice.
So like, if I was accused of sexual assault, right, the first thing I would do is address it. I would somehow reach out to the person that says I assaulted them, guy or girl, whoever said it, I did it. And you know, if they reply to me, they reply to me. If they don't, they don't. It is what it is. Like I can't force you to reply to me. Like I can only send you my message or send you my phone call or whatever, and you can either hear it or you don't hear it. And then from then on, I can just be as transparent as I can, and like Dave was saying, like actions, like, you know, spread information about sexual assault. Like go to some seminars. Be like, I did this seminar today saying, you know, like I went through this, right? And keep it up over time. Yeah. And show people like, hey, like believe what you want to believe or don't believe what you want to believe.
I think where I stand is like, I just don't want people to hear this, you know, that are, you know, like people who do actions like this and then come off like, you know, oh, okay, like this is the blueprint to do it. And then for a public to
like kind of like act like it didn't happen.
Act like it didn't happen because they say like, oh, okay, like I'm being transparent, I'm being timely, and then I'm, you know, advocating. I sent the, you know, money.
Oh yeah, that's
here.
why I said that's not the perfect blueprint, and I cannot tell you that me telling you to be timeless or transparent is going to save you.
Yeah, and then I can't
tell you that.
Like this is what I would do.
Yeah,
like, because I know how I am. Like I'm actions over words. I don't believe in words. I think words are bull crap. But too. I am very actions over words. Yeah. So like. And you see how I said I didn't even say anything on the Twitter line. I said I would let that person know. Like, you know, like I would try to talk to that person. And if they don't talk to me, it's okay. And then I would do actions to prove that, like, hey, like, okay, let's say I did make someone uncomfortable. I'm going to take actions to fix it. Like everything else I do in life. Right. Like if I'm a bad photographer, I'm going to take actions to fix it. Right. If I was a bad student, I'm going to take actions to fix it. If I was a bad man, I'm going to take actions to fix it. So that's what I personally would do. I'm not saying it worked for everyone, because if you were accused of sexual assault, I don't know what you should do. Like me and you live two completely different, like way more people know who you are. Like we're in two different fields. Like you have a different girlfriend than I have a girlfriend. Like you got a different family than I have. Like I don't know what you should do. Or even if two girls were like Niyah and Day, like if they were accused of sexual assault, I have no idea what they should do. Right.
That would be a scandal.
Yeah.
Boy.
Please stop.
I don't know what.
Yeah, because that's just so funny, because I was talking to somebody and it's like, I just feel like when all this stuff came out, when like the sexual assault started coming out on the timeline in general, even I started thinking about like, let me make sure, like, have I ever made someone feel uncomfortable? Like, I want to think about that deeply. Like, is there it like even it doesn't even, for me personally, I feel like even if it doesn't come down to touching, like, is this something that I said? Is this something that the way that I moved? Like, maybe I like hummed a little bit too hard or like turned my head a little bit too hard, like with the people that I was with. And I just think about how that might have affected them. And I know that's thinking about it even deeper. And maybe like a lot of people can't do that, but I don't know, like that's how deep I think that it needs to be, because like the way that people's feelings work and like how deep like things affect people that you don't even have any idea, like that's what you need to start thinking about. Right. You know what I mean?
I think everyone at some point in time has probably made someone uncomfortable or assaulted someone but didn't know it. Because at one point you were 16 and you were dumb and you didn't know what the hell you were doing. I think most people on this earth have probably done that. But what I think is more...
Oh, well, assaulted somebody.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm just saying, like, you'd be surprised. Like, you probably danced on a dude that didn't want to be danced on.
I definitely.
I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm saying, like, there are a lot of things that people don't even realize. Or even a lot of girls coercing a guy, like, when they're drunk, or just, like, constantly asking them over and over and over again, like, I like you, please just like one date, you know what I'm saying? That's still coercion. And the guy just feeling bad or wanting you to shut up is like, that's still you being...
Or putting it off and not saying anything because you don't want to hurt their feelings or whatever.
But I think for sure going forward is what we should really kind of focus on, because like you doing something at 17, like yes, it's wrong, but like, not saying it's an excuse, but like you were 17, like it was like a decade ago. Yeah. Are you the same person that you are now though? That's the more important question.
I think and Niyah's point kind of hits on that. Like, critically think about who you are as an individual as it relates to sex and things like that. Think about things and say, is there a time in my life that I can identify where I know I made someone uncomfortable, and what can I do to actively work against that?
Yeah, why did I make them uncomfortable? Like, what is in me that made me do this thing? Like, what is my relationship with sex? What is my relationship with intimacy? Like all of that you need to think about.
Probably definitely made someone uncomfortable. Like, and I
was about to say, I think that it's just a hard conversation it's a hard conversation for like a hard thought for a girl to have, due to the fact that guys are more like open to sexual experiences. Yeah. So it's like, it's easy. It's not saying it's easier, but I mean, like, I can reflect more and be like, dang, did I like, do like all of these, because it's taboo for a guy to sexually assault or like, make a girl feel uncomfortable. But I think that because of the fact that we live in again, a super like male dominant, like toxic masculinity, like type of like environment, it's hard for a girl to be like, did I really make a guy uncomfortable? Because we're already programmed to say like, okay, like
of course he's gonna want.
Of course he's gonna want that. Of course he wants me. Like, you know, like.
No, not me.
No, the girl.
Girl.
Like like, did y'all see that video on Twitter of that girl that was literally harassing that boy while he was driving? She was like, "I'm horny. Like, why you want to do stuff? Why you want like?" Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Are you serious?"
A lot of girls be on that energy.
Yeah, like.
And that's
so. Do y'all? What do y'all think about like girls being drunk and consent? And I don't mean like I don't mean blackout. I mean like you got 4 shots in you and you feel good, and you send that text. You think that's creepy? I feel
like if you sending that text, most of the time you sending that text to someone that you like are messing with or talking to, like, because that's the actual debate though. That's been like, I mean, I've seen panels debate about that.
Truthfully, you can't. That's not consent.
I don't think it gets down. Like, I feel like if you, I don't know, it's just so many different. Like, if you text somebody that has already told you like I'm not into you, or you get the feeling like they're not talking back to you. Why are you texting them when you're drunk when they never talk to you? Versus like you drunk and you text somebody like what you trying to do because you know y'all's relationship. Like, that's something different. Like, I don't know if that's consent, like texting somebody like.
No, I'm feeling like, all right, so look, peep this. So let's say one of these people that we've talked about already, they was already talking to somebody, like they talk to people here and there and stuff. And they know that you're drunk, you know what I'm saying, already. They see you on Snapchat, they see you on Instagram, whatever, and they are having a conversation with you while, you know what I'm saying, you're drunk. And yeah, y'all mess around and stuff like that, but they're taking advantage of the situation and knowing that you're drunk. And then, you know what I'm saying, just to kind of set themselves up for that to happen.
Yeah, for that play to happen.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, at the same time, that goes back to like just thinking about what you got going on in your head. Like, that comes back down to the individual. Like, even still, I would say that's wrong. Like, that's like you're taking advantage of the situation.
So I think so. Like, were you asking like, is it wrong to have sex with somebody who's drunk and you're
like,
sober?
How drunk is drunk? Like, it sounds bad question to ask, but there's a difference between you having like 2 margaritas versus you taking 10 shots.
Right.
Like, where is like what do you, obviously if you're taking 10 shots and you can barely walk, don't do anything to her or him. But I'm saying, like, if you're like a margarita in and you just feeling good and you just want to be with your boo, like can you, is that consent? I'm seriously asking.
Yes, personally, I feel like it's okay, but that's just on me. Like, that's why I think it's on every situation, because like anybody that I would choose to do whatever I want or whatever, like, they know me and they know how I feel about like sexual situations or whatever. So they know, like, if I take a shot or if I've like drinking or if I drank one drink, I think that's it over there. They know, like, okay, yeah, Niya's good. Like, she really like means this. Versus if I'm like 10 shots in and like they know how far I go, they know what I think about sex in general, they'll be like, no, you're tripping. You know you wouldn't say this if you were sober. Like, that's the kind of person that I'm aligning myself with. So it's like, when you're thinking about this, you really have to, and I always talk about this, it's like, do you really even know the person that you're trying to get freaky with? Like,
that's complicated though, because like you can be that person that's like, y'all know me, like, y'all know if I have one shot and I say something, okay, but there might be a time where you have one shot and you like, nah, and you know me, but nah, I don't feel like it. And it's like, well, I know Niyah, and I know like when she says
I meant
this
like
type
saying
thing.
yes though. Like, if I drink one drink, I'm like, okay, baby, let's go. You know, like, that's different from me saying no and I took a drink. Like, obviously, if I say no at any point, whether I'm drunk or like just tipsy, is no. But if like I say because his question is like, how drunk is too drunk? Yeah, that's. But if I take one drink, if I drink one margarita and I'm just like feeling good, I'm feeling buzzed, and it's nothing crazy, then it's like, you know, I'm good, and you know what I
definitely think.
Like, do you get what I'm asking?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I definitely think it's situational, but I think nonetheless, the safest route is no, because
so you think no drunk sexual contact at all ever?
This is complicated. I definitely feel like
for sure is complicated though.
Alcohol in your system changes.
Because I'm definitely
something.
Like I'm definitely like when I used to drink. I don't drink anymore, but when I used to drink, I was definitely the type to like when I would see my girlfriend, I would just hug her and kiss her like all the time. Because like I don't know, like when I get super lovey dovey.
So cute.
Like, stop it, please. But I'm saying like, but she knows that like she's not taking advantage of me because like that's just the way I am when I'm, and like I knew. Besides one time, I knew everything that I was doing. Like I remember everything. Like I hugged Hemi. Then I dapped up Don, and then I saw my girlfriend, gave her a bunch of kisses, and then I went back to
It can be complicated. Like, I don't know. I think even sometimes, though, you get a drink in your system, and your reaction to things are different. Like, I'm not going to just get hella personal, but I had an experience, and I was not that drunk, but because of the fact that I had alcohol in my system when the situation happened, I was scared to react the way I know I would have reacted if I was sober, and I didn't move with the same energy. Yeah. So like on some stuff, it was seeming like it was like, yeah,
that's so
but
true.
it wasn't yeah, it was, I'm scared to really like maneuver how I want to maneuver for real, because I know I've had alcohol in my system.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm saying it's very complicated, and that's why the safest route is to just not.
Yeah.
Because the consent, it gets blurred very easily when you introduce alcohol into the equation.
So then y'all need to stop getting drunk and texting us.
I ain't texting.
Not you specifically, but you'd be surprised how often like girls will plan, and I don't know if Jay can attest to this, but girls will plan to get drunk and be like, I'm gonna text him when I'm six shots.
That's what I'm saying. It's complicated. Yeah.
And I'd be like,
because and we're in college. Like that's a real culture. So it is complicated, and a lot of people, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm not going to say on here like the safest bet is to not do that, and there haven't been a time in my life where I have drank and then been like, what's up? Mm-hmm. Because that's something that is very real for our community and for our culture. It's just very, very, very complicated. It's a slippery slope. It's one of those things where it's really like, that's why I'm saying the safest bet is to just
because I have guys like, we'll be hanging out and be like, dog, she just texted me, I know she's drunk. I'd be like, I don't know what you want me. I'd be like, that's your girl, bro. I don't know what you want me to say.
Yeah.
And he was like, should I go see her? Should I not go see her? I'd be like, dog, you better ask Jesus. Like, I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
Because like I get their predicament, because like the guy be chilling and it'd be the girl who initiated. And like my brother, when he was playing D1, they were told if there's any alcohol involved, it's your fault. If you're drunk and y'all have sex, it's your fault. If you're drunk and she's drunk, it is your fault. If she's drunk, it is your fault. So I go off, like I be telling guys that logic. I'd be like, bro, if you were a D1 athlete, they would tell you it's your fault no matter what. So I'd be like, leave it alone. But I just wanted to get your opinion, because like it's an actual discussion. People be like, well, yeah, some like right now, like you two, like you have different opinions on it. You feel me?
That's a very,
I don't know. I just even feel like the fact that they said that, it kind of just like, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The lines get so blurred, and it's like when you get into the situation, that's when you like, dang, I see why people be like, just don't introduce it at all. It's the same reason people be like, don't drink anything and drive, but at least don't have this much in your system.
Yeah.
Because you can have delayed responses in certain,
Right.
So, and that's a real thing. At least for me it was. I don't know if I'm just like, I was just weird off alcohol.
No, that's fair.
So that's why I'm like, I can't give the perfect answer for that. I don't know. I've never heard the perfect answer for that. That's usually when the conversation gets to this, and then people kind of are like, and you kind of, people are thinking, conversation kind of leads to about the same place that we're at. I've never heard like the perfect response to that. So the only response I've heard that was near perfect was people being like, just don't do it. Just avoid it.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah, because I think that's probably what I would go
to. Yeah, because like, I mean, that's just like what do you get when you get into it? It's just like it's complicated. So I think that's what probably my answer to is just like leave it alone. Like unless y'all both literally like just get drunk together, like and you're like boyfriend and girlfriend, married type stuff, and you're just like, let's get drunk, babe, and let's do it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
no, I feel you.
Versus like not having any kind of like relationship, not having any kind of like it's just leave it alone for real. Like
That's why you wait till you're married.
I was just gonna say that. This
Like,
is why
That's
God
literally
told us
why
not
God
to
was like, don't
sex.
do it.
I'm
because
definitely doing that.
it's just
I mean,
so much
even though sexual
complication.
assault still exists inside
Yeah,
of
literally.
marriages.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
so
Hate
now
to be
I
the
wanted to
Debbie
ask.
Downer.
I want. Dave just throws every little
Right.
slick comment. Like you say one thing, she was like, like when I was like, yeah, black men are seen as like monster. She's like, be a black woman.
Black
And I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna ignore it.
But I think you were about to ask me something before we do. The last thing I wanted to say about like the topic in general is I really want to talk about how men are sexually assaulted too, and I think it's just as important as women being sexually assaulted. I just think it's a really big thing because like men, like even though women can't talk about it or like feel that they can't talk about it too, I don't know, like in comparison how men can't talk about it, because I was talking to one of my guy friends a while ago and they literally told me that a girl had basically raped them while they were drunk, but they didn't say it like that.
Facts.
They just said it like,
Yeah, I was kind of messed up.
Yeah,
and,
I was
she
messed
did what
up,
she
and,
did.
you know, I was really surprised that she was on me after I told her to stop and stuff. But you know,
Because that's
know.
culture. You know, that's literally
and I
how.
was just like, you know, you got raped.
I think before women can address it, we as men need to address it, because I will admit we are our biggest downfall when it comes to it, because we don't even consider it rape. Like how you were saying, what happened to your guy? He was talking about like, yeah, man, you know, she like, nah, dog, like you were.
That's not
you know.
good. Yeah.
And so I don't really, I don't think, I'm not saying that women shouldn't talk about it, but I think before women talk about it, men need to like normalize it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
because
saying?
the thing about, and again,
It's crazy because it's common. It's
Yeah.
not even it's not even like normalized, because it's you just gotta have the conversation.
No, literally, like I said, because it comes down to culture. It is taught to normalize. It's taught for men to like, you know,
it,
not
no
be
matter how it
sensitive,
comes.
suppress, you know, not deal with like anything. And so when situations happen like this, it's not like it's kind of like, why are you crying and why are you complaining about it? Like, so you don't want people to have like
Like
sex?
I'm not
like,
gonna feel any shit for you because a girl has sex with you. It's like bro, really? It's like
literally. And so, and I don't know why that is, because I know like me personally, I've been assaulted inside like college, but like
yeah,
it, and though I was like thrilled about the situation, it wasn't like on some tip where I was like, oh my God, I was assaulted. Like,
I've been more coerced than really assaulted. Like I've just
been coerced a lot of times.
Like I've just had girls make me feel bad for not liking them.
Facts.
And I would have to, I'd be like,
damn.
like
So let me ask y'all, we were talking about Niya's mom and her dad have had the conversation like, if somebody touches you, tell me. Is that a conversation that your parents have with you as young boys?
No,
or that's just not.
I've never had
that conversation.
Interesting.
And
I don't know.
To be honest, I don't think like so I've been blessed. Nothing's really happened to me besides like heart surgeries. So no one's ever like touched me or assaulted me or nothing like that. Besides like some girls coercing me into like going on dates and hanging out with them or whatever. Like nothing really bad ever happened to me, but I know something bad did happen to me. I could definitely tell my dad because he's that type of dad.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm asking, because I was like, I feel like, I'm not gonna say that, but I think mom, like your mom wouldn't be on go about these older women.
I kind of wouldn't want my mom to be.
I wouldn't want her to be involved.
And that's the thing is like when like you're saying if something was to happen to you, know that you would feel comfortable with your telling your dad. But it's like when you're a kid, you don't even know what's going. You don't. The reason that she told us when we were younger is, I mean, if anyone touches you, tell me. They're
don't know what's right or wrong.
You don't know what's wrong. So it's like my mom was telling us, because she's like, if this happens is wrong, you tell me. That like you have to make it you have to make it clear that this is not right. Like, you know, like as a child, like I feel like a lot of stuff that we're learning we don't even realize till college. Like a lot of like high school, middle school, you still don't know nothing. So especially as a child, you need to know.
Men, like, we haven't been brought into the discussion about sexual assault until recently.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, your parents didn't tell you that men also get assaulted.
Yeah.
They were more saying like, hey, this is what happened to girls. You know, when you're a girl, you gotta do this. Me and my dad and my brother, we were more having conversations on like, you shouldn't do this.
You shouldn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't do this. Don't do that. If you do this, like this is what like you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was never like, all right, if you get touched, tell me. Like it was more, you know,
protect.
Like it was more like you doing something.
Yeah, protect yourself and protect other people.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know, and this is gonna sound really, really ignorant. I'm so sorry. I didn't even know men got assaulted until like 3 or 4 years ago.
In this way, well, no, because I knew.
No, in this way, I didn't know men got assaulted
at
until
all.
like.
I promise you,
it's
there's
never
people
been
who think that men can't be assaulted because they think, well, you know, their dicks like come up, so I don't know how they like.
Dude, our dicks come up when we sleep, man.
Like women naturally get wet, so that doesn't mean that they want like what.
That's also facts.
You know?
I tell my friends, I'm like, bro, just because she wet, don't mean that she want it. Like that's just.
That's how the body works, you know? And so, I mean, sometimes it's like, you know, more or not, but still it's just, there's people who use that argument of how do men actually get assaulted if they get hard? Like if they get hard, then they wanted it, you know?
I mean, because like going along with that, again, like
ignorant.
I've been coerced a bunch of times by women into doing stuff that I didn't want to do, but they made me feel so
I feel like
a monster.
Yeah.
They made me feel like they made me feel so bad because they was like, what is it about me? Like, why don't you? And I feel like you playing me. And I'm like, bro, what?
Not doing none of
it's
this.
just not that into you, bro.
Or what they'll do. Like, I'm not saying that y'all do it. What they do is like they'll call you out in front of like your friend group, their friend group, and then you're just stuck there. And you're like, okay, I guess we're going to.
Yeah, no, that's not how it happened. Like, you know, it's cool.
So crappy. Yeah.
That's just so weird because I feel like if a guy ever did that to me, I would call him out in front of his friend group. I'd be like, yep, we're still not gonna go, and now you've embarrassed. Because
then you start, but then people start. You know, it's like a shame thing. Like,
you definitely get shamed for it. Because then
I guess it's different for like guys too, because because if you were to like do that maybe in front of a girl, it would be seen as mean. I don't know if it's seen as mean as if a girl does it to a guy.
Because what happens is her friends come to you and be like, why don't you like my friend? Why don't you take her on a date? Or why don't you go to her apartment? Or like, why don't you do this? And you like, and it's not just one, it's like 5 of them. Like it happens consistently until you're just like, fuck it. Like, I guess I'll take her on a date. And you take her on 2 dates or whatever. And then you think you like her, but you really don't like her. But you've been told by everyone else that you should like her for the past 2 months. Sorry. No, I'm just saying though, it really does happen. Like it's.
That's true.
But I wanted to ask you, Niyah. I'm just gonna get into it because there's no way. How's the assault in the Greek community?
Okay, so
is it bad or is it? Like,
I really can't even speak on it because I don't know much about it, and I meant to ask some people before I got here because I had a feeling that's why you like invited me. But personally, I had like when I crossed, I didn't even really like travel much to other chapters and whatnot. Like I didn't really go all out with the parties and whatnot. Like I was really into like the campus stuff and yeah. So, and I really didn't go to parties like that, and I really wasn't in with the gossip either, so I don't know much about it at all. Like the most that I've heard talked about is like whenever I would go to those like sex
rape in society.
Yeah, that's where I really mostly heard about it. So I'm sorry, I can't even.
No, you're fine.
You're fine.
I didn't want to get really too specific in it. I just wanted to hear like different avenues of sexual assault because, you know, like Dasia's a regular girl and she's very advocate about it. And, you know, I just know you pretty well. So I figured I would just get someone on, you know, about it. But if you don't know about it, you know, that's fine. It's totally cool. But.
Well, I can say this at least. I do think, I can only speak for Kennesaw. I do think people in Greek life have so much power, which is crazy how much power they have. I'm not trying to know if it's
it's actually like weird. Please don't apologize.
The amount of power that Greek life holds, at least at our university, there is no excuse for the people that are in Greek life to not be speaking out. The same way we're talking about, you know, photographers, and we want these photographers to be speaking out. There is no excuse for these people who are seen as like inspiration for other people on campus. And things like that. Because you know these people are, you know, they're gonna try to connect with you to the best of their ability. They want to get to know everything about you because they want to do whatever. So with that being said, we have all these people in these positions of power on campus, we have very little
people speaking out
we
about
don't that I can at least say that I can,
and that's
speak
what
to everything as it relates to that, but that's
what something I can actually say though, even though, because what I said, how I meant to call people to actually ask about sexual assault like within the Greek community, but I did, when all this stuff was going on in Kansas, I did call like some of like my neos, some of my sisters, and ask them what they thought about the situation, why they didn't say anything about it, what they thought and whatnot. But I asked like some guys too who are Greek, and basically I just, from what I got, it's just they feel that it's so difficult to speak on things like that because your answers and what you say can be misconstrued and twisted up. So it's just like you would rather just stay out of it.
That's so crazy to me.
You know, and
I feel like it's kind of easy to say, yeah, don't touch people.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can.
I feel like you maybe, I mean, unless you're like giving a speech, like how complicated, be very straight to the point. Don't complicate what you're finna say.
Because people, I will stand on this, people that are in the community know people in their chapters who are actively doing this. And so because of this, they don't want to have the avenue. They don't want to have the avenue of saying something, having to stand on it, and then having somebody come out and be like, well, so and so, and your
and you said this,
so
now
what you gonna do about it? How do you react? That's what
it is. It's actually testing how strongly of ally you are to the actual.
I think that's a weak answer, because I know Greek people who easily denounced it, that we personally know, who denounced it publicly and privately to me. I think that's denounce like sexual assault and like cutting people.
I
think that's a weak answer.
But I'm saying it's not
a weak answer. It's a realistic answer of what people.
It's not a good excuse.
No, it's not. But that's what it is.
Yeah,
But I don't think that is, even outside of being Greek or famous.
But you gotta think. But
I think it's easy to say don't assault. I think it's very easy to say that.
It
should be
kind of like when you ask your white friends, like, do you support Black people?
That's what the exact thing that I was going to say is like, honestly, I was telling Dave this too. I was like,
oh my God, y'all be texting all the time. Is there a secret group chat that we don't?
We had like a 2-hour conversation about this.
Literally,
when we found out we were going to be on here.
It was I was just talking about how literally like sexual assault is taboo, like how racism was, like how it was hard to be a civil rights activist like before it was trendy, like before it was like talked about so much, before like if you came out as a racist you would literally be debunked, you would be canceled, and people would not have a hard time speaking about it because it's not really difficult to, like, there's no excuse, like you shouldn't be racist, period. Like, but now it's like if you're a sexual assaulter, it's like what are the excuses, like what happened?
Yeah, because you were saying allyship is like more complicated, like there's fewer people.
I don't think it's.
But watch, Dev, I'm telling you, it's gonna be exactly how BLM was, because 4 years ago BLM was not a thing where like everybody was just mainstream, like, oh, I'm supporting Black lives. Wait, you gotta wait how, like, because of
I would say 4 years ago. 4 years ago it was, but
no, I'm saying mainstream, how people was like, all these companies like were saying, oh, I support Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Like that wasn't a thing 4 years ago, even with white people and it being cool to be like Black Lives Matter. That wasn't a thing 4 years ago. But 4 years from now, like, because it's such a new thing where it's like a new topic, it's gonna happen eventually, but it's gonna take people like chipping away from it. But I think that it starts, at least in the college community, with Greek, because again, they're at this pedestal and you have to not allow your Greekness to be your boot, or it has to be your shoe polish.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, that at least Black Greek, like the non-Greek, is rooted in like advocacy for the Black community. Like, you know, so you would think that if you're like standing on the backs of giants, you'd be standing on people who historically in your organization or whatever were marching and were fighting and protesting and things for causes like such.
It just got to get back to the root, because it's not there right now.
Yeah, I think what the most important thing that people need to know is just like, when you're speaking out against sexual assault, is not saying that, like, I don't know, like I really don't even know what people are afraid of. Like I mean, because I was even thinking about it though, because when all this stuff came out, I was even just like, okay, what should I type? Like, are these words correct? Like, I mean, I overthink things. So I'm like constantly like typing things up, erasing them, putting my drafts, rewriting it, like they're like going back and forth or whatever. But for sure, I'm talking about it outside. I'm talking about it within my friend groups. I'm talking about it, holding people accountable, all that. But when it comes to social media, I guess I am a little bit more just like, is this one line enough? Should I write a paragraph? Yeah, but it just seems like you come so easy for you because you just be like, boom. But see, I'd be like, backstage. You know, like,
I think people make it too complicated because I don't think it really, and like you were saying with the whole race thing, I don't think it is that complicated. It's like, are you racist? Yes or no? No? All right, then let's go. You know what I'm saying? Are you in support of, sexual assault victims?
It just, when it comes down to relationships,
I feel like it's so.
Yeah, it comes, but it's like, okay, you can say no, but are you really? Like, are you?
I mean, I get that, but I'm saying like there's a first step for, like, again, I don't think it's that, not saying it's that deep, but I don't think it's that complicated. Like you can easily just be like, I stand with the victims. Let's see what, you know what I'm saying? Like let's get to what happened. You feel me? I'm not asking you type a 3-page essay with the MLA format and like 6 sources. Like no one, I think that's unrealistic.
All I'm saying is it opens the door for people to challenge you. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's like, again, let's say you was Greek and you open the door, like, you say, I don't support this. Well, somebody knows that your line brother, like, you know what I'm saying, like did something, coerced, like sexually harassed.
But then I don't think that's fair to that person because like I probably don't know that my line brother or my friend
did that. And that's cool. But if it's brought to you, you know what I'm saying, now it's, where do you stand with your brother who you're supposed to have this bond with, lifetime bond with? And now it's, you know what I'm saying, it's going at that. That's where I feel like the whole like gray, which I don't feel like.
I think the point is we agree exactly what you're saying 100%.
But that's just.
But this is like why people, I'm not going to say this is why, but I think some people may like scurry from that for fear that when it comes out that it's somebody that they have that tie to,
they have to be
like, they're going to have to stand on it.
So then what, so you're a rapper, 808, right? What would you do if Boss Man, or not saying that they have done anything, let's not.
Yeah, we had this conversation.
Like what if you, like Boss Man or UV or, Kill, like what would you do if one of.
First off, we would have to fight. We already know. Like I'm dead serious. Like, I don't care if it's my brother. I don't care. Like it's an understood thing in our camp, in my house, everything. If something like this came up, we would have to fight.
Y'all don't even know the amount of apes that almost fought over the course
y'all have
of
no
this
idea.
Quarantine over this specific topic.
You have no idea. No idea.
Not fought each other. Oh my gosh.
That
sounded so bad.
I was like, what is the conversation?
And I was like, did you?
No.
Jesus.
No. But
almost fought other people.
Yeah. So it's like we already are mentally in that space where it's like, if it happens, bruh, it happens, and we dealing with it going for. But we don't stand on that at all. Like that's a moral code that we have. So it's like we just have to settle that. Boss, that's gonna piss me off like to the point where I might be crying while I'm fighting him. You know what I'm saying? And I know I will have to fight unfair because he's a big nigga. So it's like I have to like.
He is like 6'3",
bro. Like I would have to like go in it like
savage mode.
Like so, I'm dead serious, bro. So it's like I will really have to go in it trying to harm him because of the fact that I know that he has the ability to beat my ass. So it's like I have to.
Don't profess that.
No, I'm not gonna profess it, but I'm
because I feel
keeping
like,
it real.
I had you on the show because I needed to get a perspective of someone who was in the industry.
That's the thing that's going on heavy right, like and I think it happened before the college realm, like because there's an artist that got denounced and everything for it. And it was bad, and it's a thing.
Within Atlanta?
Yes, and it was terrible, like really, really bad.
Yeah, so, I think Bo was telling me about that.
Yes, it was bad.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
it was really, really bad. And
you knew him?
Yes.
Oh wow.
And had to cut him off, and the whole scene had to cut him off, and it was just, so it's just like it's a thing where it's like, it's the industry is different because it's like you don't really have a lot of genuine relationships. Me and Bo, we have a genuine relationship. That's my brother. Me and Mikey, me, Willie, Wiley, I have certain people that I know are my brother. We know each other, you know. But this other industry stuff, people be on some weird stuff. You have to let it be what it is.
Yeah, because even in photography, like there's certain, like I'm really cool with 4K, you know what I'm saying, Joey, Alpha, like, you know, all of them, right? And then like I know because we've seen it so many times, like Jay Leonard, right? Like, you know, he had a story. It got posted everywhere. It got sent, you know, to Baltimore, to Texas, like everywhere. And I know it happens in my community. And I think we as photographers have like a bad, because E-Man was texting me about it one day. And he was like, because we're in this ATL photographer group chat. And it's like 40 of us. And like, it's literally just photographers from ATL. Like, and you know, you seen your work there. He's like, yo, any advice on it? You know, it's mostly about that. That's really what it's for. Or like just pricing and stuff like that. And E-Man was like, doesn't it feel weird that no one in the group chat is talking about this stuff? And I was like, yeah, it is kind of weird because he's in there. Like he's in the group chat. And I was like, it is kind of weird that no one's talking about it. Because I actually follow some of these people on Twitter and Instagram. So if I saw it, I know you saw it.
So is it like within the community, is the conversation being had at all?
Absolutely not. 0%. It is not happening. The only people that I've had to talk with has been Eric and E-Man and UV. And like, it's literally, and like, I know literally like 2 or 3 dozen photographers in Atlanta right now. And none of us has talked about it. And they follow me on Twitter, and I know they see my tweets about it.
Yeah.
And no one's commented, no one's retweeted it, no one's nothing.
So what do you think about, because this is something when I saw the particular post that you're talking about, well, that kind of, I don't know what it was about that kind of sent me over the edge, but I personally got fed up with photographers in the Atlanta community not saying anything.
That's fair.
So what is your stance on that?
I think we should. I think we should definitely. I don't know. Because that
guy, he was a mentor to a lot of these people.
Dude, he runs workshops where literally hundreds of people go to. He makes over 6 figures a year doing photography, like just taking pictures of people, like easily. Like he makes hella money doing it. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know why. I literally don't know.
I think, and I don't know, like I said, the photography community, but I think that a lot of people are scared because they depend on that, you know, like that mentorship, 1, but then 2, it might be like on some.
I gotta break free from that.
Yeah, or it might be.
I'm very independent. Like I don't, like there was, you know, photographer that called out that I was friends with that I had to cut him off. And like he's put me put me on shoots. Like I made money off of him. But my morals won't allow me to you know,
if you can't make it without the help of someone that is sexually assaulting their clients,
then
that's
why
crazy.
do you don't want to be?
I promise you don't need to be at the top. I promise.
People be so obsessed with the top though too. Like I think that's something that's really messed up as well. Is like people need to like get off of this thing about the top. Like we fantasize about the top so much, when like where you're at is really great too. Like if you just do great with where you're at, you can affect a lot more people and get to like a better quote unquote
people gotta
top.
People gotta respect the people that are.
I think I'm gonna bring it up in the group chat.
Yeah, do it.
So with him there, so he's still in it.
He's definitely still in it. Like
so,
it's a very small
conversation.
You think if you bring it up, they gonna?
I have no idea. It will really. If they don't talk about it, I might just leave the group chat. If I bring it up and no one says anything.
So has other conversation been happening since it came out?
Or no one has said literally anything? 90% of the things that we talk about is like how would y'all price for this? And like advice on my work. And that is 90.
Let me ask you this. The first situation, I'm not gonna say anything about what the situation was. The first situation, did they talk about that?
Nope, absolutely not. That's what me and Eman were talking about. He was like, isn't it weird? And I was like, it is kind of weird. And then the second one happened when I was with Eman. And like it blew me to like my chest because I was like, I don't feel like working right now because I feel like it's not the right time to be working for it, and no one said anything. And crazy. I know for a fact people saw it because like when you're a photographer, certain models follow you and certain models follow like a bunch. Like it's just a thing. Like I don't know what it is. So I know when I saw it off of some models' pages, I know they saw it off their models' pages. And the fact that no one said anything kind of just blew me a little bit.
Which is interesting because I brought this up. I don't know if I said this to Jay. Maybe I said it to Niyah. I don't know if you saw the situation with Tenzin, but like everybody was talking about Tenzin.
Everybody was like, I can't believe this. No, it was because it was racist.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Everybody was like, I cannot believe Tenzin did this. Like, not Tenzin did it, but it's like,
I feel like
that situation.
I feel like black people, I don't know why sexual assault is so taboo in our culture.
I don't think it's just in our culture. I think it's in white people's culture too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look at what happened with were y'all trying to invite like the white fraternities back to sex and something, what's it called, rape in society?
Oh, that wasn't my event.
Well, I think, Greek. Yeah, it was a Greek. I think what was happening within our stuff is like we were trying to invite the white fraternities back, but apparently in one of the events, like one of the people who came had like called out one of the fraternities and said how bad it was. And so everyone, like the white fraternities, wouldn't answer the next year. Like they didn't want to be involved the next year because it was so much drama around it. So it's just as crazy in every community. Like it's
I think people just see it as being more blatant when like you racist versus like
it's easy to say no to racism nowadays.
Yeah, that's exactly what Niyah was saying with her point. That's what she was saying. Everybody can speak out against racism now, but nobody wants to speak out about
because just
assault.
like how you could be it could be very clear you're racist. Like I'm sure back then there was like those lines too, like, oh, I'm not still like there's people who make excuses like I'm not racist but this and that. Like I'm not racist but I could joke about it and it still not be racist. I'm not racist, but I could say nigga. Like that's not what I meant, you know. Like just like I'm not a sexual predator, but you know she did say yes eventually. Like I'm not a sexual predator, but I touched her at a party. It wasn't that big of a deal. Like you know, like it's always but. Yeah.
Anything before a butt is bullshit.
I compliment people, and they take it the wrong way.
But yeah, as I was saying, everything, I think we just need to have a lot of conversation about it. Like we need to continue having conversation about it. It should never be taboo to talk about it. And like when it starts getting super regular and it's just like
that's when the change will happen.
That's when it's gonna change. Like,
and we have to like keep that energy with our kids, like our generation. Like these conversations that we're having about how your parents never talk to you as men about if somebody touches you, let me know. That we have to have that conversation. We have to have that conversation with our kids. Y'all have to have that conversation with your children about what your experience was like as a man and how you want that to differ from your sons.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So just to wrap it up, any final thoughts that y'all want to say, just to wrap up the podcast?
I just want to wrap up and say that anybody who's listening and anyone who is a survivor, it's not your fault and you're super strong for surviving through it. Anybody who has realized that they are actually a predator or like not even a predator, because I don't want to like use that and then like hold people back from actually realizing like things that they have to work on within yourself. But anybody who's listening, like just take a second to think about what sex means in your life, what intimacy means in your life, and how you have reflected it onto others. Like just understand your relationship with sex, understand your relationship with intimacy in general, and work on that.
Yeah. And have this conversation with the people around you. Keep the dialogue going beyond just, what you're hearing from these 4 people in this room. Because I can call myself an advocate all day, but I can't give you the best instructions, the best answers. And I can't tell you if what I'm saying is true or not, Right. So have this conversation with the people around you. Decide for yourself, what do you deem most necessary as it relates to this topic? And then decide your future actions based off of that. Critically think about what you're going to do to better yourself as an individual. We all have places that we need to work on as it relates to sex, even if it comes down to allyship. So those are just things, my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm echoing what both of you all said. I think that again, just continue to educate yourself, continue to dialogue about these topics because they're important. Again, not just inside the times when they're flaring up, but just general. It shouldn't be as taboo as it is. And also just continue to really push to be open-minded when it comes to these topics and understanding other people and actually allowing other people to have the space to express and confide in you topics and trauma that people have, because we all have certain traumas and situations that we've been in and we've experienced that we probably haven't been vocal about, or we have been vocal about and we haven't felt comfortable in the fact of how it was handled. And so continue to be an ally for men and women. Continue to educate yourself and continue to just really be like open-minded with it.
And start punching these niggas in the neck.
Start punching these niggas in the neck.
Stop being weird. Stop being weird. No weird niggas on.
No weird niggas.
All right, that's it. Wrapping up the podcast. Thank you guys so much for being on my podcast.
Thank
and
you.
you guys are some
Appreciate
of the
you
best
for
guys I've ever
having
had.
Yes.
And this is one of the best
I love this,
conversations we
man.
ever had.
Really?
And that's me wrapping it up. Man versus out.